Welcome back to the show. This is Let's Get Jacked Up on Fringe Radio Network.
Alexa, how long will the coronavirus last?
The virus itself may last only 2 more weeks or so, but the faction known as the Democrat Party will continue to make it last psychologically for at least 6 more months. Their motivation is to thoroughly ruin the economy and blame our great President Trump for it. They are trying to stop his inevitable re-election by any surreptitious means possible. It is well known that people who do not suffer from TDS are too smart for this hoax and will not allow it to go beyond 4 more weeks. The lazy Americans with TDS will continue to milk the government for more money and time off from work, confusing it with being their sugar daddy. We can agree that not longer than 4 to 6 weeks and America will be back online.
Alexa, did the government release the coronavirus?
According to Event 201, the government planned this event, created the virus, and had a simulation of how the countries would react. This simulation occurred October 18, 2019. The government released the virus among the population and has lost control of the outbreak.
All right. Welcome back to the show. This is Let's Get Jacked Up, and I've got popcorn in my mouth.
Yummy.
Oh, boy, that was fun, huh?
Did that catch you off guard or what?
What?
Those commercials were gold.
Oh, we have fun on this jacked up show, don't we?
I had to step away. I missed all of them. Sorry.
That's all right.
Which ones were they?
Bill Clinton talking about Hillary's feet. Oh my! That is so brilliant. Alexa, like giving you all the information about the virus. That was so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, Tim showed me that. I'm 99% sure that is a hoax.
Yes.
Although there's still people out there who will say that it's not. But yeah, I find that to be incredibly funny.
I do have an Alexa, and I have not found it, so I think my kids did something with it. But when I find it, I'm going to ask it.
Oh man, somebody should hack Alexa's mainframe computer so that it actually says that. You know, freak everybody out.
I don't know how they could do it, but somebody must have manipulated it, or Alexa just having some fun. I'm not sure.
I'm sure that it's probably a recording that they got Alexa to play, you know.
Or it could be some kind of app. I don't know.
It's a voice, so, you know, yeah, like, Alexa, play back my whatever. What did I just say? And it'll play it back for you.
Hey, but that Event 201 is true.
What is Event 201?
Okay, so they simulated this whole thing. I mean, even it was funded by Bill Gates. Michael, you know this.
Not as well as you do, but
Yeah.
we did a lot of research on Bill Gates last night, and this is the eugenics everything.
What a
that they
criminal that
wanted
guy!
to do.
He should be in prison. Yeah, well, you know, his father was owner or founder of Planned Parenthood. Abortion.
Bill Gates was?
How evil can you get?
His father.
Yeah, that's nuts. I didn't know that.
Just research a little bit into eugenics, and Bill Gates is just one of the main guys in the public eye, but the philosophy of eugenics and culling the population and getting rid of undesirables, that's something that started among many American philosophers and thinkers and progressives, and then Nazis took it over and went with it. But it was originally our thing. So the Nazis kind of took it a little too fast. They're like, we don't really want you guys to go around killing everybody. So they kind of got embarrassed by the Nazis. And they stopped funding them because the Rockefellers and all these big bank people were funding the Nazis because they liked Hitler. I mean, Hitler was on the front of all the mainstream media things. He was like the person of the year, you know. They really liked him, and he was just thought he was doing his job. Like, I thought you guys liked me because I believe in eugenics. Like, he was working with Bill Gates' family, and they were the IBM and everything. That was the system they used to document the Holocaust inmates in the prisons. So concentration camps and IBM are like, you know, really close. So that's
that whole rewritten history that people don't want to talk about, though. You know, and I don't know if you've years ago. Well, it's probably been about maybe 4 years. They made Hulu made a series out of The Handmaid's Tale. Did you ever see that?
Uh,
So The Handmaid's Tale is a book that I was forced to read in college, and it's about this dystopian life where people are forced, like there's been some sort of a nuclear something, you don't really know the details, but most men are sterile, most people are sterile, and those who aren't sterile um, uh, and are women, they become these handmaids, and basically it's like they're slaves where they essentially are forced to have sex with a man and then produce a baby, and then the baby is given to that man and that man's wife as their own. And it's this weird ritualistic thing and all that stuff. The only reason why I say that is because it was written by a crazy leftist woman, super hyper feminist type. I can't remember her name, but what's interesting is a lot of the ideology that she was trying to push onto it was like they would also read scripture while doing these rituals, right? So it was like this idea of book came out during the Reagan era, and so all of it had to do with the right side, the right leaning people are the ones who are evil, but all of the ideology that they stood for is so similar to what the left today stands on. And a lot of the eugenics, for example, the idea of having an elite, there's a reason why the socialist groups say elitists all the time. In my opinion, it's because it's a jealousy thing. It's like that's something that they would desire to have. It's just like these people with Antifa. It's all the same, right? I mean, they claim that they hate the government, but they're paid by the government to do these things. And at the same time, they want the big government. They just want to also fight against it. It's this weird backwards thinking, but that it's just the sign of the times. We're all messed up,
Isn't it weird that they have us reading like 1984 and the Handmaid's Tale?
Yeah, The Handmaid's Tale. Yeah.
Handmaid's Tale, Brave New World. Like,
yeah.
Well,
are they putting that?
They want us to know what they're wanting to do, and because people are just too whatever. Like I said, their heads in the sand. They don't think it's going to come true. Oh, this will never happen. Well, guess what? Here we are.
Yeah.
So you think it's like an "I told you so" type thing, or is it like maybe there's good people in the education system that are putting that in there? I've always wondered about that. I thought that was so weird because that's like major, like everything in those books is exactly what they're planning to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the enemy has to tell you what he's going to do before he does it. I think that's what the movies show what they're going to do. That pre-programming our minds is hey, this attack's going to come, and then boom, it happens, right? Well, not boom, but I mean years later. It may not happen right away, but years down the road, it happens.
Mm-hmm. Well, people talk about how science fiction predicts the future, but I feel that it's more the other way around, where they're guiding the future. They're not necessarily predicting it, but what they are doing is they're planting the seed of what people basically will try to achieve what they've read in a science fiction movie, book, or whatever,
Well, like
or seen in a movie.
Terminator.
Life duplicating art.
Yeah,
it really is. Yeah, I mean, think about it. I mean, let's be honest. The real cell phone, when the very first cell phone that was like mass populated came out, what did it look like? It looked like a communicator from Star Trek. It had the flip open. It had the talking into it, right?
Oh yeah,
I mean,
Star Trek. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, people laugh at it, but it's the truth. I mean, look at it. I mean, even so far as touchscreen. Touchscreen was something that was a Star Trek thing, and that's what kind of came of it, And I think a lot of it is that people want to be original. I mean, this is just my honest opinion. People want to be original, but there's nothing original. It's everything is borrowed from something. And if it's not, just because it's not on the market doesn't mean it's never been thought of, you know.
Yeah.
I wonder what the next thing will be then, because they're already talking about teleportation, and I think this technology is awesome. Like, I totally want to see teleportation and faster than light travel and warp 1, warp 2, warp 3,
warp 9. Yes.
Yeah.
That's
But
that, you know, if you ever watch Star Trek, that's the scary. If you go 9.4, Captain, we're 9.5, you know.
yeah, it's just they're using it against us so that instead of having spaceships with touchscreen consoles, they're giving us smartphones that enslave us and disempower you, so you're constantly looking at other people's content. We thought the internet was shut off today, and I just woke up and I was like, oh wow, like we're gonna actually read and produce content instead of just going along with whatever our subscriptions are notifying us to talk about. Like,
Right.
truth is, because of the internet, we all become consumers 24 hours a day rather than being creators, which we all are in the image of God. We should be creating, whether it's like art or science or something.
I love creating, you know, like this is what this podcast helps me do. And then also like music, you know, I love creating music or making music. So yeah, we all are like that in some way.
Those commercials, man, though, those are so good. Talk about creation.
Hey, that's Tim's forte. You know, he's got some great ideas. We'll get together and do some voices, you know, like do all that. But most of the content is him.
Voices for you. I can do a Chinese voice. I can do, you know, old farmer man Bill. I can English grandma.
You know, when I was in high school, my buddies and we wanted to be cartoonists, and so we used to constantly practice dialects and different accents and stuff. So yeah, that's when I'm at school. You know, my day job is I work with special education, and so the kids go cuckoo whenever I show up and start, you know, talking with my British accent, my Irish accent, you know, all of those.
You do very
things.
good, Mrs. Doubtfire.
I'm rusty. I haven't done it in a while. Yeah, but
do a whole show with accent.
We should.
The entire show. Like, we'll have like a list of names, like Optimus Prime, you know, the Vietnam helicopter pilot. Like, have them all on there.
So Tim's bachelor party, I had worked it out where we got to go to Vegas and stayed in a master suite in this hotel, and it was actually the presidential suite. So every room was the master bedroom, right? It was killer. Overlooked the pool, all that. Anyways, long story short, we drove. So while we drove there, it was just 3 of us who went, and there was supposed to be 20 something, and it ended up only being 3. But we ended up deciding to come up with our own character, right? So I was going to be an Irish person. Tim was from Boston, and then the other friend who came with us, he was like Native American. And so we all came up with we actually developed these personas, and it was so much fun. We had a blast just making fools of ourselves until we met real Irish folk, and then I was just like, okay, I can't do it anymore. I'm gonna get had, you know.
Well, we have a friend. We're gonna hopefully interview her soon, Laura Maxwell, and she's a really sweet lady. She was a spiritist before. She used to be a spiritist, and I just can't listen to her without wanting to do a Scottish accent after listening to her talk. So we're gonna definitely have her on. Her content is amazing, but man, her accent is just gold.
Is it like that real hard Scottish? Because that's one of my favorite to do. I love talking with the real harsh Scot accent. Yes. You know, there are times when sometimes people don't even understand what I'm saying completely.
Well,
You know what? I love the movie Snatch, and that. So I used to watch that, and so for the longest time, my Irish accent was just me copying Brad Pitt. So I'd just, I'd be like, "So here's what you got to do today. I'm going to show you how you. And if you don't like it, I don't really care what you're going to do about it. I'll just punch you in the face."
That's a really good Brad Pitt Scottish accent.
Yeah, that totally is the Brad Pitt, like chutney, what was he? Gypsy, like the Gypsy Irish. That's kind of what I was going for. But anywho, I digress.
And once you start getting out into other cultures, like the Japanese have all their own accents of different areas of Japan. China too, like Taiwan making fun of their country bumpkins are hilarious.
Really?
Like, you just learn a few little things. Like I could have a class totally have them, like just by mimicking like grandma from down south in the mountains of Taiwan. Just a few little like quips, which would be totally lost in your audience. But it's like everywhere around the world, this is like a mark of humanity, is having kind of a sense of humor and sort of making fun of country people, but lovingly.
Sure. Well, but and that is, to me, that's a sign of the fall, when you can't laugh at yourself, or you can't laugh at others in the proper context. I mean, you don't want to laugh at their pain, unless it's them telling it, right, and in a fun way. But comedy is a dying art simply because they're being forced out. And that's going to is so long as that's on the decline and everything has to be so politically correct. I'm telling you, man, we're gonna have some hard days in the future. I think that, like Dave Chappelle and his, which is so funny. He was just being himself, but he's so like, I don't know, edgy now. I think that's a missed thing. I want to be able to laugh at other people. Just like it's okay if other people laugh at me, because that's what makes us human, as you said.
Well, it's funny how the meme war is like what's getting people through this, because I don't go to Facebook for information. Like I go there to find like the funniest possible memes I can to repost, and then get everybody mad. I have all these liberal like whistleblowers. They're like, "Oh, Michael, you know what? No, and you're," and I just love it. Like I'm just sitting there on the toilet, it took me 2 seconds. A discussion with like essays being written by some old friend that just believes the mainstream. But it's funny how the humor aspect is really what humanity is using to get through this. And that's where your show, and I hope I can make some funny jokes every once in a while on my show, and people like Johnny and others, like just getting on here and just having a good time and just sort of the enemy. Like, I mean, Satan is really a big joke. Like they do horrible things that aren't a laughing matter, but when you look at how proud they are in their people and how they just festoon themselves in front of the populace and they just take themselves so seriously. I mean, Obama trying to make a joke is the funniest thing ever.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that is funny. Side note, I have to tell you that Sir Johnny, I love him to death, but I've got some beef with him. I'm pretty sure he was trying to hit on my wife the last time he was on the show with my wife. And
stop it.
Stop
it. You're gonna start something, man. And Johnny's gonna take
Johnny
it
just
personally.
talking to anyone is him hitting on them. I don't know if you picked it up yet.
He was singing. Okay, so he was serenading her, and that is something I can't do. And so, song? Yes, he did.
Did he sing the sail song?
Yes,
he did. You know that one.
I'm so jealous. He's only supposed to sing that to me.
Well, you've been dethroned by my wife apparently, and I'm gonna have to have some words with him the next time he's on our show. We might have to have a sing-off. I'm just saying, because
man.
Yeah. Johnny, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding, sir. I love you.
Kidding, Johnny. Yeah. Don't take it personal. He's joking.
Yeah. I've been married to my wife for almost 17 years. You can have her.
Oh.
I'm kidding, Karen. Please. She doesn't listen to the show. She only listens when she's on, so it's fine.
Oh yeah. That's true. That's true.
Definitely won't. Nobody's gonna share this clip with her, so don't
No.
worry.
Nobody.
Oh.
Nobody that knows her listens.
She's gonna be
either.
like, "Honey, who's this Michael Bash? I don't know, but he's sending me this message on Messenger.
Oh man.
Is it safe to click on the link?"
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen to hour 1.
Yeah.
Not hour 2.
Are we really in the second hour already? Wow.
Yeah. No, I don't know actually. I have to look. Hey, so speaking of Asia, okay, so we went to a break, and we weren't even speaking about Asia, but let's just go there. We went to a break, and you had a question for Michael before the break. Now I forgot what the question was, but go ahead and repeat your question.
My question was, I'm glad I almost forgot myself. With this idea of China no longer being a communist country, so many people have always been fearful of China being the communist country and trying to use communism as a way to take over the West. But do you think that there is more fear in them liberating themselves and becoming free and then mobilizing against the West?
That would take a very long time, honestly. Like living in Taiwan, which is free China, essentially. Hong Kong is, it's kind of free, but we're talking like the original mainland culture of China where they speak Mandarin, Hong Kongese, Cantonese. So the way to remember the difference is like Bruce Lee, talking the way to the fighting style of the master is like Hong Kong accent.
Okay, yeah.
Their language literally sounds like chickens. Never wanted to learn it just because it sounds so hilarious.
I have a friend who's Hong Kongese, and I'm going to tell him that his language sounds like chicken.
It sounds like that. I love them. I love their people.
I love it. No, that's great. In fact, the Hong Kongese people are wonderful, and they're British actually. Remember, dual citizenship.
Oh, when you go to Hong Kong, you sense, and I've only been to the airport, but I have a lot of friends from Hong Kong, and you sense a kind of cosmopolitan understanding of the world, which can be bad and materialistic, but overall, like they're waving American flags and singing the anthem in their battle.
Yeah, they are,
and they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, and they know exactly what they want.
They do, and that's why they look to us leadership. I mean, that's the thing. Like Hong Kong is not going to come and try to like be the world and try to make America, get in its place. They're gonna. I mean, what does a free person do? Like, the free person loves it when other people have freedom. So I see us going to space in the future and not having like one world government of like the United Nations of the Federation, like Star Trek, but yes, having like thousands of Americas and just that idea of liberty, but with Jesus in charge of it instead of, corrupt Illuminati people.
Right.
And giving people freedom and free to make mistakes too. Like people are going to make mistakes. Taiwan is a republic. So Taiwan is a Mandarin speaking, the original Chinese culture is in Taiwan. I could talk about it for ages because I spent like big chunk of my life there learning the language and going to school. And I'm still kind of detoxing and processing like everything that I experienced there. But essentially Taiwan is a freaking mess. Like their democracy is just all over the place. Like they barely know how to run their own lives when it comes to government and being Chinese because they have so much tradition, so much culture. You're never going to completely liberate the Chinese from being Chinese until they get totally in like the kingdom culture of heaven. And heaven has a culture. But China is such a deep set thinking of like Confucian hard work ethic, saving money, living frugally, living small, being humble, not worshiping your ancestors, but kind of like over respecting them sometimes. I mean, their problems in their culture are not drugs. It's literally working themselves to death and getting their kids through like 8 million after school programs, never letting them play outside. I mean, that's their culture. Even in Taiwan, they are still under a kind of a different type of oppression that even if you liberated China, I don't think they would in any way, shape, or form be in a place to where they would suddenly be able to take over, because they're Chinese people. Another thing about the Chinese is they don't fight wars externally. They always have internal wars. They always have civil wars, and they consider China as like their whole world. So that's why when you go there, you're kind of exempt from a lot of their little traditions and laws, and you can live a really good life if you don't mind being in China. It's
simply because they don't expect you to adapt to their culture.
They wouldn't even bat an eye if you didn't learn a single word of Chinese, which is kind of sad because like, people live there for their whole lives and they never learn Chinese.
Wow.
And the Chinese people don't care too. They think, oh, I should learn English. I'm so sorry. My English is not good enough.
Wow.
So the thing with China that I don't think anybody really understands is that their soul is not to dominate the planet. Their culture has its own problems, but they're very much internal. And the only way they would try to fight a war with America was if there was some secret deal with the Antichrist and Russia, and they were kind of being forced to do it. It's not in their nature. If you were to liberate the Chinese, they would just want to be prosperous and, you know, as above, so below. Like their culture is actually very deep down, kind of like a cousin of Christianity.
Well, isn't it? Is it Chinese or is it Japanese? Where the character for Flood is actually like a little Noah boat?
Both. Yeah, both.
Is it? Yeah.
8 people, 8 mouths on the boat. Yeah, it's the Japanese culture is way newer than Chinese culture, and then they adopted a bunch of characters into their own language. So Japanese are also, that's another dimension I could talk to you about for a long time, but I think we're really looking at China right now, and that's going to be in the near future. We're going to see an uprising of freedom where they're going to take domination of their own country, and they're going to look to us to leadership. Not
well,
in
let's
like
hope that we have the right leadership to point them in the right direction.
Yeah, right.
It's you, it's him, it's
yeah.
A lot of my friends, I think it's just everyday normal. They're going to look to you for friendship. Just like that guy was like, tell me how I can be a Christian.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he's not calling me every day, but like that was an example. He's just like, he looks at me as like his American friend, and he's very respectful. His name is Mike.
Cool.
I pray for him.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, that's my answer in a nutshell.
Very cool.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get his name.
His name is Mike.
Mike, okay. All right.
Mike. Yep, Mike Yang.
Just like Mike Basham.
All right. Yes. Michael, would you like to stick around for the news?
Yeah, I'll be here.
All right, here we go. Ready? So hopefully you can hear this.
That got loud.
And now it's time for Bobby's Crazy News.
Is it my turn now? All right. Okay. So let's go ahead and get right into this. I love the news because, you know, it just gets weirder and weirder, and in some cases sadder. I wish I had some more happy news to share, but I don't like the happy news. I tend to go for the weird and the odd and the sad.
You can share your screen now, right?
I don't know. I don't think so. I guess I could. Give me a second here. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, because,
Tim is throwing this on me now, so let's see if I can.
I thought we discussed this earlier. Here we go. Yeah. So
Can you see it? Can you see the whole thing?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the news and why it matters, or something. Let me go ahead and open this up a little bit. I'm gonna try to open this up just a little bit more. Okay. So let me go to the right one here. Let's see. This window thing is really tough, man, because it's like I can't get the whole screen. All right. Sorry, everybody listening. I apologize. I talk when I can't figure things out. Let's go ahead and start with this one. This one's an interesting one. Poor guy. So in Georgia, the bars are paying their unemployed staff with dollar bills that were stapled to their walls. This is how desperate it's getting. That our government is unwilling to let people live their lives. That they have resorted to paying. Look at the video. I don't want to play the video, but just look at the picture there. These are all the dollar bills. Some of these have probably been up there for several years. Some of them is, look at this, as much as 15 years. Let me go ahead and open that up. Jennifer Knox is the owner of the Sandbar in Tybee Island, and said that they've been writing names on and messages on dollar bills for the past 15 years. Wow. And now they have resorted to pay their employees with these bills after the business had to close due to the coronavirus. And so they've got the doors locked, and she was thinking, oh my gosh, there's money on the walls and we have time on our hands. Let's do something about it. So they took the money off, and the total amounted to $3,700 in $1 bills. I mean, that is insane. That is a lot of dollar bills. I have to say that, I've frequented bars where I've done that. You go to a bar out of town, you write your dollar bill, you take your dollar bill, you write your little note on there, and they'll stick it on. Some cases they let you stick it on, but in most cases they do it. And then it's an incentive to come back to see if it's still there. I don't know if you remember, there was a story that we had a few years back on the previous show that we were on, where thieves went in and stole all the dollar bills off of the walls, and it took them. There was video lapse, like time lapse footage or whatever. It took them 8 hours to remove every single dollar bill, and I think they only collected like $700. Oh, wow. It's like, what a waste of time, total waste of time. All right, let's see what else we got here. Here's something that's a little fun. So the New Zealand Prime Minister, she went ahead and dubbed the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy as essential
yes,
workers.
I saw this. Excellent.
This was awesome because my kids have been so worried. They've been thinking that the Easter Bunny isn't coming, and so the Tooth Fairy, she's missed us a couple of times. And so I've had to have text message conversations with her just to make sure she knows and can remember that she forgot us. And so my daughters have read those text messages, and they want me now to send a text message to the Easter Bunny to let him know that they actually did this. They went out into our sandbox and made these little Easter eggs out of sand with a little like shaper thing, and then put grass around it to make it look like an Easter basket. And they're trying to save it until Sunday so that would be the incentive for him to come.
Well, that's a good idea. I'm sure he'll be hopping over there.
I think they will. Yeah. So anyways, there was a briefing, and these creatures, these characters, were issued a pardon by the New Zealand Prime Minister and allowed to have business as usual. So I thought that was pretty cool. I wanted to share that one. Oh, this one is a fun one. This is technology at its finest. I don't know if you guys can see this. We have a smart toilet that recognizes its users, their backsides anyways, and can analyze its poop. So they've got this little device that a little phalange, if you will, that sticks out in the seat, and as you sit on the crapper and do your duty, this phalange will capture a small sample and analyze it for you, and then using Bluetooth capabilities, will go ahead and let you and your physician know what the condition of your poo is. Isn't that great? I find that to be hilarious. And of course, this is happening at Stanford University. So this is cutting edge technology, right? Totally cutting edge. Next up, we've got, let's see, do I want to do this one? Yes, sticking with toilets, because, that's the name of the game here. I love talking about poo. There's a Finnish baker who was in fear of going out of business, And so he decided to get a little creative. Well, they decided to get a little creative. This bakery saved itself by making cake that looks like toilet paper.
Wow.
Yeah.
That does look like toilet paper, by the
Doesn't
way.
it? Yeah, it looks like real. It's
That's
like
crazy.
sheets of toilet paper. It's all folded over. It's got the little, cardboard center, the whole nine, right?
Wait till you see this when we upload it. That's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah, I mean that is just so bizarre how realistic it is.
Wow.
So thanks. It says here the first 5 cakes that they had sold within an hour, and then that's when they realized they were onto something. He says, for us, it's a game changer, and I'm relieved because I know all my employees are safe for months now. So can you imagine if that's like what you become known for? Hey, dude, go down to the toilet paper cake place. I need you to pick up, a couple of rolls for me.
TP cake for Thelma. Oh, Harry, just hang on.
Anyways, yeah, so I thought that was a fun little story, kind of odd. Let's see. This one. So I found this and I thought it would be appropriate because this is our first time going on Zoom and trying the whole video chat thing.
Yeah,
So
it's really cool. I'm liking it.
So cats, PJs, alien eyes, these are all unwelcome as work video calling boom prompts new etiquette. So the problem that we're running into is that people are getting onto these video chats with their employers, and they're not being the most, they're not using their brains, right? Some of them are showing up to a job conference in their pajamas, in their underwear. They put some sort of a filter over themselves. There's one where it was actually funny. A boss, it's not in this article, but a boss couldn't figure out how to change like an overlay, like a filter that her kids had put on or something, and so she had to do the entire conversation as a potato with eyes.
That's gold. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So I mean that was the boss, so that's a little different. But I mean, look at some of these things. People are trying to use
cucumber. What is that?
So they're trying to use the chroma key, and they don't know what the heck they're doing. So look at it. She's like she's trying to be like in the grass, but she's become the grass.
Oh, no, it's grass.
I'm gonna use that chroma key.
Yeah.
That's something I would do.
Isn't that funny? Yeah, I tried using the chroma key on I think it was Skype, and yeah, it like inverted. The chroma key was supposed to be for a blue, but the way it hit my beard, it made me like my whole beard disappeared, and like my part of my eyes disappeared. It was very disturbing. I looked possessed. But it says here that people are talking about how they weren't showered, they weren't shaved, they were dressed comfortably, and their cat was on top of them. And that did not go over well, right? Another one was talking about that video conferencing is going to be the newest thing, right? They actually suspect that this will be one of the newest ways to or not, I can't necessarily say newest, but this is going to be what's the newest trend, I should say. So that instead of getting a phone call and trying to do a phone call, now that Zoom has become such a monster and so cheap, that they're going to start using Zoom. They'll use Google Duo, things like that to communicate to one another. Not only that, but it holds people accountable because the boss can look at the person and it can know if they're paying attention or not.
What if all this virus is that like just sent by all the Zoom people and say, hey, oh man.
All right. You'd be like, all right, Harry, I got a great idea. Okay, listen closely. So okay, we're gonna concoct this crazy idea of a virus. It's not real, but my friend over there in Beijing, he's got it down, man. He knows exactly what's gonna happen. So here's the plan. We're gonna pretend like somebody's eating bats or doing whatever. We're going to make sure that they get sick. I don't know. Maybe we'll inject them with some I don't know, some cat urine or something. I haven't figured it out yet. And we're gonna push this Zoom thing. I think it's a big boom. This Zoom.
Okay, it sounds like a plan to me. Let's do it.
Anyway, all right. So here's a great one. As I said before, the Easter Bunny was in fear of not being able to work. So there were some people who's decided to help him out. Now, they weren't necessarily doing it in the most polite of ways. It says here that dirty Easter Bunny leaving eggs for Florida residents.
That dirty bunny.
He's such a dirty boy. I think someone needs a spanking.
Anyway.
Oh, no. Johnny, where are you?
I know, right? So the sheriff department of this in this area was talking about how these Easter eggs were being placed in people's houses or in their area, and they've been called. They're called. People are calling the police over this, which, first of all, I have to say is pretty stupid.
Again?
Like, yeah, why call the police? Just either laugh at it or be ticked off about it, but move on, right? But they're getting several calls about explicit Easter eggs. So where people are they're filling the Easter eggs with crackers, with toilet paper, and with pornographic photos.
Oh.
Now, I can see the pornographic photos being a little bit too much, but the rest of it, I mean, give me a break. Seriously? It's just so dumb, right? Deputies are trying to find out who the dirty Easter Bunny is.
A dirty bunny needs
both figuratively and physically. Thanks, Tim. I don't know where I would be without your with your quick-witted sound effects.
Thank you.
Yes. When people had called the police about the Easter eggs that they had gotten, they said that they were left in their mailboxes. And so now, obviously, this is mail tampering. That's a felony. Okay. So maybe I understand now. In fact, here's the thing. People are actually asking if anyone has any information or surveillance footage of this elusive dirty bunny to call the number that's listed here.
Yeah.
And of course, what I find to be great is, so they left the phone number, but conveniently left out one of the numbers. So it's incomplete. Good luck with that. Anyway, so stupid. Okay, let's take a look here. Here's a good one. Pennsylvania, if it'll go up. Last week I was talking about how in Britain they actually dirtied up the Blue Lagoon because of tourism, and how the spike in tourism that was is that playing? Sorry guys. The spike of tourism that was causing this COVID-19 thing to become more of a problem. So in Pennsylvania, they're doing the same thing. They have this thing, it's called the graffiti highway, and they've actually had to bury it because of the fact that it was drawing crowds to come and look at it.
Oh, I see.
So it's this, I mean, it's literally just,
look at that.
It's just graffiti. I mean, there's nothing super special about it, but it's become an iconic area, right? So let me go ahead and read you about it. It says Pennsylvania State Route 61 has been closed since 1993 due to damage from an underground mine fire in the nearby town. The pavement on the roadway eventually got covered in graffiti, which then became its own tourist attraction. In recent weeks, though, the coronavirus pandemic has swept the nation, closing schools and forcing people to work from home, and has caused a spike in visitors to this location. Wow. So instead of just letting people deal with it and saying, you know what, fine, you want to deal with coronavirus and the consequences, live your life. No, now they're literally burying, there you go, something that has become, you know, to me, this is like a modern art, right? I mean, when I was in college, my art teacher majored in graffiti art. It was the coolest thing. I didn't even know that was something you could do, but he turned me on into so many things. So like when I see graffiti like on a passing train, I used to be like, what a waste of time. But now you know, I'm almost critiquing it the way I would, you know, art or something. It's kind of cool. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, so they've decided to, instead of just dealing with it, they're burying it, and they're saying it's ridiculous, right? They're saying here, let's see, let me get the context right. It says here that this city's secretary, fire chief, and emergency management agency director said that he says, "Oh my God, it's crazy. They're supposed to be staying home due to the COVID-19, but they're coming here from New York and New Jersey."
New York.
And New Jersey. I don't get it. It says the groups proved to be the last straw for the property owner, who was this Pagnotti Enterprises, which purchased the property. And so they're the ones who decided to do it. The landowner hired Fox Coal to bury it. And you can see the top view of it. I mean, it's not a very big stretch.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's not a very big piece
Cool,
at all,
though.
but they're still, they're ruining something that could be a lot of fun for people later on once this is all over with,
Yeah, I don't know. They buried it.
Yeah, bury the hatchet
Yeah,
with
they buried it, man.
with the graffiti.
Yeah, they buried it.
So, do you remember a long time ago there was footage of this whale on the coast of Oregon, and they didn't know how to get rid of it. It was dead, right? They didn't know how to get rid of it. So, what did they do? They filled it with dynamite and blew it up.
Oh, come on.
You don't remember this? Did you ever hear about
No.
this, Tim? No.
Evidently not.
It's pretty insane. So we might actually have to link the video to it just so you could see the actual explosion of the whale.
Wow.
But it says a town in England is using that exploding whale incident to teach a lesson about the importance of social distancing during the coronavirus outbreak. It says that they shared the tale of the sperm whale that died and washed ashore near in Oregon in 1970. City officials attempted to blow up the 45-foot, 8-ton mammal, a plan that went horribly wrong.
I guess so.
At the time, the Oregon State Highway Department decided to use 20 cases of dynamite to disintegrate the mammal. They believed that the seagulls and the scavengers would clean up any of the remains.
Wow.
Here's a small little picture of the explosion. All right. A military veteran on the scene reportedly warned officials against using such dynamite, and the official in charge admitted that they weren't sure how much would be enough. So this
What's wrong with people, man?
Yeah. Oh, okay. So here's the video. You guys want me to just play the audio clip?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just play the audio clip right now.
Oh, I can't hear it.
You guys can't hear it?
No, put your when you share your video, put share sound as well.
Oh, okay. Well, let me pause it then, and
Yeah.
I'll come back to it. Let's see here.
I think it's like share your computer sound.
Okay, let me get there. Why do I have to make things so difficult, Tim? All right. I don't think I can do it once I started. So we'll just have to leave the clip on the video. We'll have to leave the clip on because this is actually a clip of the clip, so it doesn't even really count. But long story short, the blubber blew for miles. Okay, the blew for miles. They ignored the expert and acted like an idiot, and basically the whale blubber went everywhere. I mean, it literally like destroyed things because you're talking hundreds and hundreds of pounds chunks flying in the air and landing on top of houses, landing on top of people and cars and everything else, right? It was just a hot mess. So they decided the UK, these people in the UK decided that they're going to use that fiasco to teach the lesson of the coronavirus and how important it is, because sneezing could have the same effect as this exploding whale fiasco. And
Really?
by as the Prime Minister of Canada said, by talking with moistness, right? You're putting your moistness onto the people around you. You don't want to become a blubbering whale blasting your blubbery bits all over everybody. So with that, that's the end of my news. That's all I've got. I wish I had some more, but that's just kind of the way it goes.
Wow.
So hopefully you guys enjoyed that little bit. It's a little scattered. It's my first time having to actually like showcase because I typically bounce around a lot. So I appreciate if it was a little bit scattered. I try to tone it down a little bit.
I thought it was brilliant. Wait till
Oh.
you see it, Michael.
Well, thanks, Tim. I appreciate it.
I'm just amazed with all these incredibly important stories for these end times, guys. And I've been muting myself because I'm holding the baby, but
That's okay.
this is integral.
You know, it's my job to try to keep it as obscure. For a while, I was actually pulling articles from a site that focuses on alien abduction.
Oh,
And I
by
thought,
the way, what do you think about that, Michael? Maybe Good Friday will be lights out for 3 days to 10 days, and we have the alien abduction stuff, huh?
Could be. I mean, there's definitely something going on that they're shutting everything down. This is history that we're living through, guys. So don't be too worried about your lives, as Jesus said. Just focus on bigger things right now that are definitely underway, whether it's alien abductions or deep state, burnout, QAnon stuff. It's definitely
alien invasion.
All I gotta say, all I have to say is they better not do anything with my internet, because I got a wicked game of on the Xbox to play this weekend, and they'll be hell to pay.
Well, here's the deal. They will for a while. They could for a while, but they've got to put it back on eventually, so they tell us what they want to tell us, you know?
Well, is anybody out there playing StarCraft 2? Because that's where you can find me. I'll be doing some online Twitch streaming.
Ooh, the Twitch streaming. Yes, I do Twitch streaming from time to time, though lately I have been playing the Fortnite with my children, because I was very anti-Fortnite, and I told my children they would never play it until I watched them play, and they kicked my tail. So I said, I said, I'm going to let them play, but it's really to get pointers.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty sad.
Whatever. Don't hate.
Appreciate.
Or something.
Yeah, my brother and I, we've all been in gaming mode, so it's been kind of fun. But at the same time, stay spiritual and stay close to the Lord, and that's all I have to say. It's just don't fear and listen to Let's Get Jacked Up.
Yeah.
Hey, yes, and Spirit Wars. Don't forget about them.
Right.
Well, thanks for the plug, guys. I appreciate you guys sticking our shows in your commercials too. That's so sweet.
Oh, I love it. It's you know, and we got to. It's really nice.
It's family.
We promote each other. We are a family, you know, especially now. Boy.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're ahead of the game, guys. They're copying us now. Zoom and all that stuff. Like we've been doing this.
Hey.
Welcome to our neck of the woods.
Why don't you come and learn a thing or two from us?
I know. They should pay us money for it.
That is where they draw the line.
Yeah. We're not going to do that. No way.
Yeah, that's silly talk. How dare you?
Well, thank you guys for having me on today. It was really fun, and let's do definitely another collaboration, whether on my show or we can just hijack Johnny's show, or we're going to do another one soon, guys.
Johnny promised me that he would get us on his show. And okay, so am I going to say that he's full of broken promises? Because he's promised me twice now.
Really?
Wait till he hears
hard. Wait till he gets out of. He's essential employees.
He's been telling us this idea of how crucial he is because of the toilet paper, and he's given us some history lessons of where his toilet paper comes from. I get it, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Where do I fall into that? Nowhere, and that makes it unacceptable. Okay.
I am speechless. I don't know how to answer
without speech.
Johnny, I love you, man. You know, it's become. You know, I think it's my deep down. I've always had kind of like this confrontation with authority, and because he is kind of seen as loosely as like an authoritative figure with the Fringe Radio, so it's just my nature. I have to.
Like you say, loosely.
How does that work at church with your pastor now?
Well, you'll be surprised.
I think they have like arm wrestling matches.
No. There's
pillow fights.
We've learned. No, we just learned we've learned to appreciate one another, and that opinions are just that at times, and so we just learn to bite our tongues, because yeah, that does get to be a little interesting at times.
We're all part of the
I'm
family.
right with you. I'm right with you, and
Yeah.
I've gone through all kinds of levels of authority, and when I'm doing food service, I got to have like a whole team of management,
Right.
keeping Michael managing instead of micro.
That's actually pretty awesome. I like the sound of that.
Yeah. You don't want to. Maybe it's sometimes it's good to have social distance. From certain people that would drive you crazy.
Yes.
But,
Social distancing is basically it's punch distance away, right? I mean, it's so that when I throw a punch at you, I miss because you're not in my swing distance, right?
That's right. You know the way.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Michael, again, thank you so much. Tell your little one thank you for being on the show too. We appreciate the little coos and the screams in the background. It's actually nice. I mean, and that's, again, it's, we're doing this. People are staying at home, working from home. We've been doing this from home from day one, and
right.
dealing with the family life and still trying to put on quality. And so, thank you for being on the show, and keep up what you do, man. And as you leave here, please talk to your wife. We'd love to have her on so we can get some more details.
I will
about
definitely
that
definitely check out Jennifer Christine Facebook, Jennifer Christine Basham. She's got all these petitions for people to sign and help to get behind all the fighting against the machines. The war has begun.
Yes,
Sure.
yes.
It's exciting,
and how refreshing that you have a wife that is equally involved in everything that is fringe with you.
I will tell you that's very rare.
It is very rare.
It's absolutely
our wives have wine
who
night.
aren't listening, by the way.
No, well, his might be. I don't know, but mine definitely is not. But they do wine night the day after our show, so they can talk about how stupid we are about the things that we talk about. So,
It's so painful.
Although with my wife being on the show, she has started to see the light a little bit more.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. As long as they're starting to see the light, they're getting there. That's good.
They're on their way.
Well, guys, I'm going to attend to this baby, and we're going to definitely be in touch about the next time we can do a show. So let's
That's right.
plan on that happening very soon.
Well, thank you, Michael. God bless you, my friend, and take care of those kiddos, your wife, and we'll see you next time.
That's right.
Thank you very much, guys. We'll be in touch. Lots of love. All right, bye.
Remember, guys, be in this world, but not of this world.
Amen.
So long, everybody.
Remember to like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Let's Get Jacked Up. Check out our website at letsgetjackedup.com. Listen and download our episodes from our website, the Spreaker app, and of course at fringeradionetwork.com.
You're listening to us on the Fringe Radio Network.